You're like a solar battery, except this is the type of battery that you don't have to keep charging up. It is always on receive and it is always filling up. There's just one thing though. We have to be careful as humans because we have this power of choice and we can put our senses on anything we choose, that we don't start getting too dragged into other things, which mean that we lose our focus out of this solar pathway. What do I mean by that? Well, it's quite simple, really. Every day, even though we're automatically filling with pure love, if we take a little bit of time on our own, we will be really super conscious of that. And through our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies, we will even start to feel a very deep connection with all of that mystery of experience where all living beings are hooked up together and communicating, and we can be deeply in touch with ourselves and the universe. But if we're really, really engrossed in all the stuff out there, running as fast as we can from one thing to the next, 9 to 5, or if we're too hooked into screens and changing images all the time, we don't hear that essential nature broadcast that is going on. And it's a bit like covering yourself in sun cream. You might be sitting on the beach, but the sun never really completely reaches your skin. So we need to align with the essential setting and the frequency of where all that good stuff is happening, that pure love absorption, and where that solar pathway really lies. And this is because slowly over time, if we don't get in the way, we're not too distracted, and we spend time also with ourselves in silence, this huge gratitude and this huge receiving opens up, where we feel more and more, and the battery starts to reach a new level, and the battery starts to change over and flip into a new frequency of light that is so strong and so bright that something happens in our biology. We grow a new capacity to receive even more on the next level. And all of that happens around something that we have in this area of our body. And that is called the pineal gland. Now, traditionally, the pineal gland is advertised as some great eye here, and there are stories of cyclops and creatures from the past that have this one eye, and actually they're quite scary stories. But the pineal gland is not really anything to do with that. The pineal gland is all about a super focuser which can bring light and solar energy all together on the interior of the body as the pure love connection works strongly. And the more that it gathers and the more that it is focused, when we focus specifically on something, we then capture the current of that solar pathway, and as matter starts to generate, the form is lightly informed by what we wish to focus on, rather than perhaps what others do. And we can start to steer nature's reality and that solar pathway in better and better directions for all beings. Now that's really good news, because there's something going on in the world right now that is a little bit dubious. There are a lot of things coming in and being suggested that may or may not be in our best interest. And the question is, are we more distracted by and putting our focus on that and becoming pulled into whatever is behind that? Or are we becoming more and more focused on how we really work, and then everything outside, including some of those strange things going on in our societies, they have to answer more to us rather than us being dragged along into whatever their agendas are, positive or negative. The power of your pineal gland, which, by the way, in history has been depicted as a pine cone or sometimes as an esoteric, very positive type of eye, which can protect you, is what actually is able to direct our reality. Not in a top-down authoritarian type of manner, or not in a negative coercive form of power at all. What we're talking about here, remember, is something that is based in nature and derives from that solar pathway, which is already there, which has its own set of rules, which embraces all living beings and only has a positive and nourishing agenda. It's just that when we take healthy control, we can start to issue a different type of frequency, both in our bodies and in our personal space, which can bring people back more into that channel that's about that solar pathway and embodying more love on this planet.